I'm Shannon.
And I'm Lisa.
And KK's here too. And you're listening to Blacktivities,
a celebration of all things Black.
Black culture, Black history,
Black perspectives, and Black panache.
Celebrating our Blackness doesn't mean exclusion.
Everybody's invited, but you gotta come in and have a seat.
So let the Blacktivities begin. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Blacktivities. Thanks for joining us. I'm Shannon, one of three hosts of the show. Lisa and KK have some personal things going on today, so it's just me today. But I do have a guest. Rick Willis is a proud HBCU alumna, U.S. military veteran, accomplished track coach, and dedicated journalist and content creator, rooted in a deep commitment to the empowerment of Black communities. Rick is a vocal advocate for unity and loyalty between Black men and Black women, same as us here on Blacktivities, believing that our collective strength is essential in these times. As a father, son, uncle, brother, and friend, he leads with purpose, passion, and pride in every role he serves. His work reflects a lifelong dedication to uplifting truth, culture, and the voices of the unheard. Welcome, Rick. Thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So I don't know about you, but I've been feeling this attack on Black lately, and it really is just irking me. So I've had to go off on a few people. And when I say go off, I don't literally mean go off, because that's just not my personality. I basically intelligently set them straight. So if I'm being real, I don't go off on anybody. That's not my MO. But I am tired of being called controversial just because I want to talk about Black history and Black stuff. And I'm tired of being told that I want to play the victim because I point out iniquities and injustice. Because I wouldn't say that I'm a victim to anything. I feel like I'm a victor because I come from a people that's overcome so much. I feel like you could put us in the dictionary under resilience. Have you been feeling that lately?
Yeah, and it just goes part to their fear.
Yeah.
Their fear because they realize that we know they've been lying to us all of this time, and that lying stops. And that lying only works in certain regions within given states. And now that people are Black people are becoming more educated, we ain't going for that. And they don't know how to act. They don't know how to respond to that. They've tried everything to get us in the streets, and it hasn't worked. And we got a large coalition of Black women that just ain't having it. That 92%, that 83% of Black men, we ain't having it. And we ain't having it from nobody. Ask Target about us.
Proud 92%er over here.
Yes, definitely.
Before we get deeper into the discussion, first, I want to do the segment that we call Big Facts. So here are the big facts. So there are a lot of things people deem to be opinions on this topic, but we'll get to those. There are still some documented facts that I'm going to discuss in this segment. All of this stuff is big facts. It can be proven. So starting with after the Civil War, during Reconstruction, once slavery ended, so let's remember also that this was a forced decision for the South, Black Americans began to exercise new rights, voting, holding office, building schools and churches, but the progress that they were making was met with immediate and violent backlash. Between 1865 and 1877, at least 2,000 Black women, men, and children were victims of racial terror lynchings by white mobs. Thousands more were assaulted, raped, or injured in racial terror attacks during this period. The Equal Justice Initiative reports that the rate of racial terror lynchings during Reconstruction was nearly 3 times higher than in the decades that followed. These were not isolated incidents. White supremacist groups like the KKK organized campaigns of terror targeting Black people and their allies. They burned Black schools and churches, murdered Black political leaders, and used torture to intimidate anyone who tried to vote, seek education, or own land. Congressional investigations at the time documented these atrocities with over 13,000 pages of testimony and reports describing organized bands of armed men carrying out murders and attacks to maintain white supremacy. So who were these armed men? They weren't Black people, like they like to say that we're inherently violent, but these were considered upstanding men in the community, doctors, lawyers, clergymen, etc. But that's another topic for another day. This violence was highly effective in undermining Black political power. How do we know that? Because during Reconstruction, 17 Black Americans served in the U.S. Congress, and more than 600 served in state legislatures. But by the end of the 19th century, white supremacist violence and new laws like poll taxes and literacy tests had nearly eliminated Black political representation in the South. In South Carolina, for example, Black voter numbers dropped from over 90,000 in 1876 to fewer than 3,000 by the end of the century. The backlash didn't stop at violent attacks. It also included economic and social attacks. Black workers, especially Black women, were targeted by racist campaigns in the press and by employers. Black communities faced economic intimidation, false accusations, and arbitrary violence, all designed to keep them from achieving stability or success. When early 20th century historians reported on Reconstruction, they portrayed Black political participation as a disaster, erasing the reality that Black leaders built schools, advocated for civil rights, and worked to create a more just society. Confederate monuments were put up as public displays of resistance to racial equality. Throughout the 20th century, Black resistance and progress were met with new forms of violence and suppression, including the burning of Black neighborhoods, the destruction of Black-owned businesses, and continued lynchings. The Equal Justice Initiative has documented over 4,400 racial terror lynchings of Black people in America between 1877 and 1950. Fast forward to today, same thing, different day. In recent years, at least 18 states have passed laws or imposed restrictions on how schools can teach about race, racism, and slavery. In Florida, the state banned the AP African American Studies course and introduced standards that require teachers to highlight supposed benefits of slavery, such as enslaved people developing skills that could be applied for their personal benefit. In some states, official curriculum changes have downplayed or omitted the fact that slavery was a central cause of the Civil War. Across the country, books that teach Black history are being banned or removed from school libraries. Buildings and schools named after Black leaders are being renamed, while Confederate monuments and symbols are being erected or preserved. In some cases, government agencies have removed videos and materials that feature important Black historical figures, further erasing their contributions from public memory. At the federal level, proposals have been made to dismantle the Department of Education and eliminate civil rights protections for students, especially Black students, which would make it even harder to ensure that Black history is taught honestly and accurately. These are not opinions, they're documented facts supported by historical records, government investigations, and news reports. From the violence of Reconstruction to today's efforts to erase and rewrite Black history, the pattern is clear and proven. This is not just us being in our feelings. These are big facts. All right, so where do you want to start here?
I mean, it's so much that could be said, but we want to stick to facts. They're always telling us to pull ourselves up. by our bootstraps.
Mm-hmm.
While the very system is saying it are the ones cutting the straps, stealing the boots, or putting weight on our feet. So
And let's be real, Rick, like a lot of them did not pull themselves up by their bootstraps.
I mean, white wealth was built through handouts. 1862, Homestead Act, free land for the whites only. New Deal, housing loans, Social Security excluded most black folks. The GI Bill, while vets got college and home ownership, black vets often were denied. And then black successes punished or destroyed. Tulsa, Black Wall Street, Rosewood, move bombing in Philly. Today, black TikTok creators get suspended while their content is stolen and monetized by others. It's still happening. And
we talked about that last episode.
So it's crazy how they'll say something, right? I'll give you an example. They'll say, go to school, get an education. But they do underfund the black schools, fire black teachers, and ban black history. They'll say, work hard and get a job, then discriminate in hiring, lock us out of unions, and deny promotions. They'll say, start a business, but the banks deny black loans, platforms suppress black content, local governments raise taxes and zoning barriers. They'll say buy a home, then redlining, predatory lending, and high interest supreme loans target black buyers. Be peaceful, they say. They still murdered Martin Luther King Jr. and send the FBI after peaceful leaders. And then they say stay out of trouble. They criminalize blackness anyway. So what do you want us to do? And at this point, everything they've tried, we've endured. We're still here. And now it's about getting a strategy. We've been playing so much defense, having to play so much defense. We need to go on offense as a culture. Stop moving to what they do. They need to move to what we do.
And I think that's what they're scared of. Because if we do go on offense, it's over.
Yes. It really is. And the sad part is there's no real platform for us to come together. Like, I'm going to say this. The church used to be the place where blacks would go to organize.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that now. And we have something going on that I've talked with my friends and we're like brainstorming constantly because we have a problem within the black community that we got to figure out something, how to deal with that part. For instance, if you and I come up with a strategy, right, between you and I, and we're the only ones in on this strategy, yeah, it works. But the minute you start telling outsiders about what you and I got going on, that's when it gets messed up. So we got to figure out how to attack. For instance, some people believe you can. I don't know what I believe yet. So, but you can't. What is it? What is it saying? Can you love black but sleep white? And then how do you, the ones who sleep white, how are you going to help the black without sabotaging it at the same time? When you go home, is it the motion going to get sabotaged?
So you're talking about interracial relationships.
It's not just the interracial relationship part. I mean, people are going to love who they're going to love. The problem is they don't keep what they heard over here away from over here.
Okay.
That's the problem. Like, we always talk about this fictitious cookout.
Mm-hmm.
In 2025, only black people are invited to the cookout.
KK declared that in one of our episodes.
You show up
No
with somebody
more.
who's not black, you got to go too. Because we
Yeah,
can't trust.
no more invites.
But we got to stop inviting the people who would bring the others.
Mm.
Because Clarence Thomas is going to try to bring his wife. So how do we? That's the dilemma we have. We want to welcome everybody black, but can we?
Mm.
Can we? And that's the messed up part. We can have the greatest movement now, but it can get sabotaged because we feel like we can save us all, and maybe we can't. I don't know the answer to that, and I don't like. I've talked with people, and it's like in 2025, who'd win? Who'd have more support? Would it be Malcolm or Martin? I believe Malcolm.
Mm.
We got too many Martins. We need some Malcolms. We need more Malcolms because they're pushing us over. They're running over us.
That's a good discussion question, actually. Like, who would, if neither one of those figures had been killed, who would have more support these days in 2025, Malcolm or Martin? If y'all are watching on YouTube, put your comments. I want to know what you guys think. Let's talk a little bit about white victimization. It seems like they're trying to shape this narrative that, white people are being discriminated against through things like affirmative action and DEI and programs like that. What do you think about that?
Well, that's their mechanism. That's what they do. You say it's snowing, no, it's raining. You say it's hot, no, it's cold. You know, you say something happened to you where you shouldn't have been there. There is this video, and I posted it on my page recently. There is an actual video. There is somebody who he did an impression of Donald Trump's voice, right? So they have Donald Trump's voice saying the most outlandish thing to a room full of Trump supporters. And they were telling these people that this is what Trump said, and we got to get in front of this. Like, we got to get in front of this, the camera, to say stuff to when people start talking about it, we got to make them shut up. And you would not believe, like, this voice is this guy, and he says, yeah, when I'm running my pageants, sometimes the girls are in there, they're getting naked. And so sometimes I get naked and I walk in there too. And if they say, oh, he came in there while we were naked, I could say, hey, they came in there while I was naked too. My Jew lawyer said that'll work.
Wow.
And so after they played that little clip, then they asked the people and told the people that were in there that they had to get in front of it. And the people were like, yeah, that's just locker room talk, And then there's white women and white men, and then one of the white women said, well, yeah, that's why I like him. He'll other people won't say what they want to say. He'll say it. I can get behind that, And I'm just sitting there like, dude, this is sick. So
it is. It's very cultish, in my opinion.
I mean, and I was telling somebody, in order to follow Donald Trump, you have to be a liar to yourself. You have to lie to yourself and lie about everything that's within reality. And as far as we go, the Black community, there is a lot of us who we have a yearning to learn. We pick up books. We actually watch political podcasts. We watch news, and we are researchers. We'll get on the web. We'll search our information. We'll verify what we're searching against other information. And you have a segment of Black people who are not so educated, not so interested in what's going on in the world. And they're being taught in a different way, and a lot are given mindsets that because of the region of the country that they live in and the state or the city, little small town they see, all they see is white at the top, and they'll never equate somebody black being here or above. They can never do that. The inner city is different. We see a different reality. In the small towns, we got to factor that part in as well.
It seems to me like a fear tactic. Because
Definitely
it's
a fear
like,
tactic.
yeah, make us we're the victims, right? Not them.
No, we're the,
Not all this stuff that has happened to them in the past. Like, we're the victims.
like, let me give you an example. I was born in 69. Okay. I had been to the bus stop with my mom when I was 3 and 4, and we had to sit there until a black bus driver came because the white one wouldn't stop.
Mm.
That's what I experienced. I knew my grandmother's. I met my grandmother's dad. So, what stories do you think have been passed down through my family? And that's just my dad's side. My grandmother on my mom's side, she lived to be 94. My mom lived to be 83. My dad lived to be 85. My grandfather, my dad's dad, lived to be 88. What kind of stories do you think that is passed down? And technically, in America, when I was born, we were not free.
Mm.
People couldn't vote without poll taxes to the 70s, 1970s.
Mm.
So they always talk as if things that happened were bazillion years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Martin Luther King died in the 60s. He was murdered in the 60s. So was Malcolm. So was the the Black Panther. Remember the Black Panther? Like, this stuff happened in the 60s and 70s. It's not that long ago.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a generation removed.
Yeah. So, it's really, it's scary that now all these narratives are coming out. Like, we got to figure out how we move. As a black person, I know we're going to overcome whatever it is they throw at us. But I don't want to just keep overcoming whatever they throw at us. I want to make it to they're afraid to even try to throw something at us.
Right.
They're going to.
Another issue that I see that this is creating, this white victimization, is that now they're kind of shaping it in a way that it's like, okay, well, DEI is a racist policy. So basically, if you're a minority, if you're anything other than a white male, basically, like, they're shaping this narrative where it's like, you can't be competent.
Yeah, they fired these competent black people and airplanes started falling out of the sky. And before it was DEI, it was critical race theory. And before it was that, it was like lazy black people. You mean these same black people that you got who you stole from another continent to bring over to do the work that your tired ass didn't want to do?
Correct.
So
yes. And that one
is
is still very prevalent because I've been told to get a job and whatever in comments on posts.
Yeah.
That I need to get a job and stop being lazy.
Oh, and we're so violent, yet you got us sitting for your granny. You got us you got us watching your kids, but we're so violent. If we're lazy and so violent, why would you want us in your fields? And why would you want us in your home watching? Now, it was fine when black women were in the house being maids and stuff. They were fine. They weren't afraid of black people then.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to tell you, if you pull up the FBI crime stats, right, and you look at the crime, white people really need to be afraid of white people. Hell, we need to be afraid of white people. Because The school shootings, them white people. Children being molested, women being that's white people. That's corporate crimes, blue collar crime, all of that. It's white people. When your information is being stolen, the banks get robbed, all that kind of stuff. That's white people. But they want to say it's us. It's like when you look at the FBI crime stat, it's like 4,900,000 crimes created by white people, 2 million created by black people, and then it goes lower and lower and lower. White people create crime about 4 times the amount. When they always talking about immigrants way down here and whites are way up here. But they have to put fear in things, because
yes, a lot of fear mongering.
When they see you driving a nice car and they got their old Ford pickup truck from 1995, that's a problem. It's really rooted in jealousy and envy.
But it's also going to potentially create some economic issues for us as a community, because there's a certain group of people that will start to look at us as not being competent.
You know what? Let me tell you who's going to look at us as competent. I'm a white business owner, right? All these black people been working for me is the reason I'm making all this money. You telling me you want me to get rid of them? That ain't happening. I ain't going to lose all my money just to make you happy. That's crazy. Because when you gone, I still got this company. So it may work on those who sat at the back of the classroom, didn't care about school, and their parents didn't care, and their parents allowed them to just drop out at 16 and not go to school and things like that. You know, they're gonna work at the garage, or they're gonna work at Plant 5. You know, they're gonna do what their parents in that way. Yeah, but not a company, not no Fortune 500 company, a Fortune 100 company. They're gonna take the best.
So you feel like it won't necessarily, it's just a certain group of people that don't make the decisions will feel that way. But the people who have power, access, own businesses, things like that, they know the real deal.
Yeah, because then they just brought them 50 to 100 people from South Africa, right? Them farmers, right? Now they stuck in hotels and they're crying because they can't get no food, they can't get nothing, and one of them then already killed his wife.
Oh,
yeah,
I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, they don't. Now here's the other part. This aligns with why there is so much fear today. Haven't you noticed? CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, they got rid of a lot of the black journalists. They got rid of journalists who told the truth, like the smaller ones. They can't get rid of Rachel Maddow because she brings in too many viewers for them. But they're getting rid of anybody who tells the truth. So now, essentially, all of those stations are Fox News. How come you ain't seen nothing about marches until last 2 weeks? Prior to that, they ain't showing no marches. They ain't showing no gatherings because ain't no black faces there that they can scare white people with. If they show the marches, they're going to only see white people. Those police cars that got busted, those are white police officers busting their own windows, and there were white people who busted those windows. It wasn't even the Mexicans or the Hispanic and Latinos who were marching. It wasn't even them. They need a villain. They always need a villain. And you can tell they're lying when there's a villain. And like I say, the people who don't pick up books, who don't research things for themselves, don't understand critical thinking, it's easy to manipulate them and to scare them And it's that fear that drives them. And all they hearing is Black people are lazy. Black people are this. Hispanics are this. Latinos are that. Asians are this.
Mhm.
That's why they think they better than. But I always ask them, if you so much better, then why you got to cheat to win?
Hey.
Why you got to cheat? Why you got to set up things to make sure that you're always the winner if you are better? Black Wall Street showed them that they weren't better. That's why they were angry. Rosewood showed them they weren't better. That's why they were angry. Oscarville showed them they weren't better. That's why they were angry. You remember back in the day, white folks, white businesses didn't want Black people eating at their businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
They wanted Black people to come in the back door.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? They messed around and let us come in their business and we tasted that damn bland ass food. So you don't want your damn food. We can go back to segregation now. We sorry for wanting it. They need us because you want to get some white people riled up. Tell them we want to go back to segregation. Well, they don't want to leave us. You notice anything done for Black people, specifically, you see white people come in, rushing in. Even if you and I wanted to just plan something small, there's going to be a white person trying to get in the door. Why? I thought we were so violent and we lazy, so we couldn't have, and y'all were so much better, so we couldn't possibly be doing anything that warrants you wanting to be a part of it. If I'm bad Black on Monday through Friday, let me be bad Black on Saturday and Sunday. Stay over there. That's all I'm saying.
Making me think about the movie Sinners. I
Yes.
just had a chance to watch it.
Yeah. And it's another show topic for you, but I'm gonna throw something at you. On my birth certificate, I bet you on your birth certificate it says you're Black, right? Mine says Negro. Your dad says Negro. Do you know why that is? Because our people before us were actually here before the white people got here before Christopher Columbus got here before America Vespucci got here. And all the Indian, they got it listed where it's only like 5 tribes, but it was hundreds here in America already. And they only narrowed it down to those 5. And then they sold white people for like $150. They could go in and make themselves Indian. So they can get the land grants and stuff, the same stuff that Indians got. That's where it is. And this stuff is out. There is actual stuff. You can go Google it up and look at it. And you know how people say America was named after America Vespucci? That's a lie too. That wasn't his damn name. That was his last name, but not his first name. I'm gonna mix up the word, so I'm gonna let you know. Nicaragua, that country, there was a Black tribe over there. They were called the American. I can't say the word, but it started with America. And they were in that country. So that's where your N-word comes from. And that's where the name of this country comes from. Black people, because there were Black tribes over there. And when they came, when America's Vespucci, when he came here, he saw the same Black people.
Rick, you're saying some stuff I never heard before. I'm going to have to go do some more research.
Yes. They always gotta lie. See, that's what I was telling you before the show, that I research a whole lot of stuff for no good reason. Because I don't believe anything white people tell me. I have to look it up for myself before I have to believe. Before I believe I have to validate it. Because you've been lying our whole life. Like, why in 2025 is any American celebrating Christopher Columbus Day? When they talk about American history, They don't want to teach Black American history. Why the hell do they think I want my kids to learn about some old white dude who hated Black people?
Speaking of that, this revisionist history that you're talking about, teaching the watered down version of what actually happened, how do you think that affects our next generation of little Black kids?
Well, now, I'm going to probably differ from other people. In my opinion, it shouldn't affect. You know why? Because it's on us to teach our kids.
Yeah, I believe that too.
I don't even expect anybody anything less from anything more that from a white person is to teach our kids lies. I don't expect no truth to come from them when it comes to about history, the real history of America. And any white person that's teaching the truth is going to get shunned by the rest of the white community. So I understand their position. You know, they damn if they do, they damn if they don't. But it's on us to take time out of our life and invest in teaching our kids the truth. Throw them some new stuff. Like, I don't do Black History Month. Anyone who visits my page will know I don't do Black History Month. I do Black history every single day of the year. And I give insights to things that people aren't used to seeing. And I challenge it because I back it up with facts. You ask me a question about something, I'm going to lay you down with some links and some facts. You can go research. Now, I don't like doing that because I believe just like I wanted to learn about it, you can too. Have you ever, since you're doing your shows, let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
You ever laid out some facts and then somebody white chimes in your comments? Well, where'd you get those facts from?
Every time.
Look.
So there is this short that I posted, and it was a clip from the show where we talked about the different historical tropes and things. And we, like in my Big Facts segment, I was talking about the whole Black people and watermelon thing, right? And this short got like millions of people looking at it. And in the comments, it's like, you made that up. Like, this is not true. Everybody eats watermelon and yada, yada, yada. Like, I thought that was one of the tropes that pretty much everybody knew about.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can do a simple Google search and find this information. But it was like really controversial.
And you know,
I don't understand it.
So I went to a high school that was on Manley Street. And I used to think my classmates were just so smart, you know, like I really did, right? Till I found out the reason they were so smart is because they had all the test answers and they didn't look like this. They looked like this. They had all the test answers. And the school became National School of Excellence. And then it came
We're from the same town, by the way.
I know. I know.
For our listeners and our viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy. Like, for instance, to give you examples, since we're from the same town, right? That the incidents where this one teacher decided to take out his gun and it was on national news. But it was all this sympathy for that particular teacher. What if he had been
not the same?
I don't think he would have made it out of the school alive. Yeah. It's like slavery and then what happened in Germany. Yeah, they want to put what happened in Germany up here, and I'm supposed to forget about slavery. Hell, they want to put what happened in Germany up here and what happened in Palestine down here.
But they leave out the part that what happened in Germany, they got from America, the U.S.
Yes, they don't tell the truth about any. That's why I said I don't believe nothing that they're saying.
Well, we have to wrap up our conversation a little bit, but first, let's do a call to action for the culture. I don't know if you want to think on it a little bit or if you got it off the top of your head. What are you calling the culture to do as it relates to this topic?
I think the call that I would do is to say to us as a whole that we need to start embracing each other more and putting a little more effort into it. Black women are not your enemies. Black men are not your enemies. We got to speak to each other when we see each other on the street, because we have to start killing each other with kindness. It takes no effort to say hi, good morning, or good afternoon, and things like that. It takes no effort to do that. And when you do something small, sometimes it turns into something big, and it catches on that we all start doing it. You know, when I was a kid, there was no such thing as a dap. Now everybody daps. So that's what I'm saying. You have to start somewhere small to build that up. We have to start seeing each other in a positive light. So when you see somebody like us in the crowd, you give a head nod. What's up, brother? What's up, my sister? You know, we have to start really doing it. And we have to instill it in our kids to do that as well, because there's a whole lot of energy coming at us, negative energy coming at us. We have to pump some positive energy back into each other. And
I love that.
we have to shut down all this negativity, let them have their own narrative, but don't feed into that narrative. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like what did my grandparents said, it's kind of like how people see Vegas. Whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Whatever happened in this house, stay in this house. Don't take it outside. You mad with your girlfriend in your relationship. But when you out in public, don't be mad at all black women. Don't be mad at all black men. Be mad inside at the one that got you upset. But treat the rest good, the way you want to be treated. We have to start doing that. And I think that lends to us knocking down some walls, and so we can ease into being strong group of people that we really are. So that's that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm calling the culture to first educate yourselves. I feel like there are a lot of things happening daily to attack Blackness and Black history and Black progress, but we can't get distracted with all the other stuff that's going on. And we can't ignore it, because I feel like sometimes it's just too much and we try to ignore it. We have to educate ourselves on how the laws and the executive orders are impacting our community. And I think we have to educate ourselves on our history. Second, I feel like we have to empower our youth, and we have to instill in them a sense of pride. Tell our little girls that they're beautiful until they know it deep within them. Tell our little boys that they're powerful, that they're smart, that they're brilliant, that they can do anything and be anything, so that no matter what the world tells them, they know it in their core. Educate them on their history. We talked about that because we can't depend on anybody else to do it. And yeah, that's what I'm calling the culture to do. I also want to encourage you to click that plus in Apple Podcasts or the subscribe button in YouTube if you enjoyed this episode, so that you can keep up with the latest episodes. We also love to hear what you love about the show. So let us know in the comments what you loved about today's show, and on those 5-star reviews that I just know you're going to leave us because you love the show. And until we meet again, well, actually, before we meet again, where can people see your content, Rick?
Okay, so unlike most people who go to TikTok and Instagram, I'm Facebook.
It's for
And
going.
yes, predominantly
Okay.
so Facebook. As you see, the name is Rick Willis. And when you go to my page, you can get it all. If you send me a message, I'll respond. And because I look at it, it's kind of like I take my principles everywhere I go. Like when I'm at work, I start out speaking to the cleaning staff. I treat them with dignity and respect. I treat everybody the same. I got one speed. I ain't changing for nobody. Everybody gets the same good outpouring from me, and I don't see our CEO any different than I see the cleaning lady.
I think that's important.
and and with that, anybody on my page, I come with love and respect. I'm gonna post my opinions. I'm gonna post my content, but it has nothing to do with disrespect. And like I say, Rick Willis on Facebook. I have a yellow top. They won't let me change it. It changed my profile picture. I'm actually Rod Inman 5 in the Instagram world. So either one of those two, you can find me over there. Yeah.
All right, y'all check them out. I'll put some links in our show notes. Thank you, Rick, for joining me today and filling in for my co-host.
Thank you for having me.
Until we meet again, kings and queens, keep doing big things.